What do you think Labour stands for?
To be very fair, I don't even know anymore.
What do you think about this general election coming up?
I think it's really important. I think now's the time. I think it's overdue, if anything. I don't know how many unelected we are on, but it's too many for my liking.
Well, I was surprised that it was so early and so soon, but I think it's a good thing.
And why do you think that?
Because I think the sooner the government changes, the better.
It wasn't really necessary at this point, but then again saying that it wasn't necessary, maybe there is some things that are happening in the background that not everyone is aware of.
Who would you rather be in power instead?
Well, I think the most important thing is to have a change.
What do you think about Rishi Sunak? Do you think he could cling on to being Prime Minister?
To be very fair and being brutally honest, I think everything that Rishi Sunak got on his plate as baggage and he's trying to fix, I think he's been doing a pretty good job so far because he was the exchequer previously. So in terms of numbers and how he's trying to steer the economy, bringing down inflation, I think he's done a commendable job so far.
I think he tried hard, but I think the Conservative Party have done a huge number of really damaging things to the country.
I think basically they've corralled themselves into such a tight corner that whoever the survivors there, Rishi probably is the very best, but what does that mean?
His role as a leader has been quite forgettable.
I find it really difficult to have someone that has that much money try to talk to me about what people want, because I don't think there's any real connection with what actual people want. I don't think you know that, but that being said, I think he's better than a lot of the worst. Maybe.
Pre-Brexit and pre-COVID, everything was pretty much stable. There was no major shifts or jolts, but these events have had a major jolt. So to say that they've done an amazing job or not, there wouldn't be a lot of quantifiable backing from my personal perspective to say that yes or no. But given the circumstances that we've had post-Brexit and post-COVID, whoever has come in power, they have done a considerably good job of bringing back or clawing back some of the stability that we had in the past.
Who do you think that you'll vote for?
I will probably vote Labour for Keir Starmer because I feel like we need change in this country, and he is sort of offering the idea of that. I think that we probably won't see much change happen in this country for a while, especially because of all of the economic change that happened under Liz Truss and the Tories. I think taxes will still remain high, and I think people sort of have to keep that in mind when they vote, because things will take a long time to change, because you can't change an economy in a day unless you crash it.
And what do you think about Keir Starmer?
I think he's trying his very best. I think he's someone with integrity. I think he has to compromise, and I think that's what we're seeing, a whole load of compromises, but I just can't see anyone being better for the job, really.
Would you consider voting for him?
Yes, I think I would.
Well, I hope that he will be a breath of fresh air, but I suspect that things will not change as much as we all hope.
Why do you think that?
Because the country is rather entrenched in its ways, and we don't seem to have a vision for the future.
I think his heart is sort of in the right place, but I think that he doesn't particularly have like a large sort of like idea of what he wants to do with things, and I feel like that a lot of people will vote for him, but almost in the sense that it's more of a lesser of two evils.
On a dating app, someone asked me about this today, random, because he was like, general election. I was like, yeah, actually, I'm going to be voting Labour because I think we have to get the Tories out, and I think that's the safest, smartest way to get them out. I do not align with some of Keir Starmer. I think he is closer to being a Tory than he is to being true Labour. I think his
Why
lack
do
of
you say that?
I think there's a lack of support for diversity, there's a lack of support for union workers, there's a lack of support for actual working class from his policies. And I think the insistence on focusing on keeping refugees out and people like that is something that doesn't align with what the Working Party is about, for me.
What do you think Labour stands for?
To be very fair, I don't even know anymore. I will be very honest. I don't even know anymore. Because there's been so much of shift in terms of what they stood for, what they kind of pitched, what they stood for versus what is the kind of deliverance we've had. I don't know anymore.
I think having too much of a plan is counterproductive. I think you can go in somewhere thinking you know it all and then you don't. And I think things are so... I think a lot of things are hidden. There's the Russia report that has been hidden. There's all kinds of things that have been fudged, and I just basically feel better that Labour don't have a very clear and decided plan, because there's been plan after plan after plan from the Tories, and that hasn't really got us anywhere. So half of a plan, which I think they have, and the other half I think they will work out when they're there.
I guess you kind of hope that they would have some sort of plan, though, don't you think?
So, I think they do. I think there's definitely plans for, there's plans for looking at housing. I think Keir Starmer, his plans about the boats.
We do, but it's not as clear as it should be, and I think that it's not as visionary as it should be. But I can see why they have been playing very safe, because they're trying not to upset voters.
But do you think playing safe is going to cut it?
No, I think I would prefer them to have a vision, and particularly to join with the trade arrangement with the EU again.
For whoever comes in, what do you think should be their main priorities? What should they change?
I think the main thing that needs to be reduced in this country is knife crime. We're seeing too many people killed like every day.
Right, first of all, there has to be lack of cronyism. We have to get rid of all these horrible quangos and committees where basically not just giving money out to your friends, not just handing out things because someone's got the contract, and really stripping things down and looking at what actually is the best.
Looking at the social distribution of wealth, housing crisis, and particularly like the rental market, energy prices, like the fact that it's unregulated at the moment and it's absolutely destroying people's quality of life. That's my priorities. More social support for the lower classes of society, because they're the people who need the support, not people who need a tax cut.
Well, I think that everybody wants them to do things with the health service, but that actually is probably the hardest thing to change.